Alright, now we're going to go over Sheet 1 on Module 5. There's 8 questions to go over, so we're going to go into it. So let's look at this table here. We've got a list of employees and just some generic data about them, male or female, what their age is, and what their phone number is. So the first question is we want to find out the area code. The area code is the first 3 digits in a phone number. We can do that by using the left function. I'm just going to type it out, equals left. You can just click on the number that we're going to try to pull the left number from. We want three cells. Click enter, and it's okay. There we go, we have 972. We can copy this all the way down. Next, what are the middle 3 numbers? For this one, we'll use a different function. It's the mid function. So I'm going to insert mid. We want on this cell, and then you can even see it kind of gives you a little help if you're not sure what it is. So the first part is the text. Next is the start number. Start number is where do we want to start pulling from. So if we want the mid, we're going to start from this 1 here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th character, or the 5th character. So it's comma 5, comma, and then now we're on the number of characters. How many numbers of characters do we want to pull? We want to pull 3 of them. So we're going to put a 3, close the parentheses, and there it is, 190. We can copy this down. The next part is the right 4 numbers. So you're going to use the right 4 numbers. Equal the right function equals right, comma, this number, and we want 4 digits. So I'm going to put a 4 here, press enter, and then we can copy this down. So those are just 3 simple text functions to use to show you how that pulls real data. And okay, here we want the full phone number without dashes. We can do this, I mean, there's many different ways. I'll show you a couple of them. First, we can use like the concatenate, or it's easier to use just the and sign. So we'll do that way. So say if we already did these 3 columns, and we have them here, we can do this cell, and this cell, and this cell. Press enter. There. So now we've got the whole formula there. Got the phone number. Can copy it down, and we got no dashes in it. Another way we can do that. Say we didn't have these 3 columns already done, and all we had was a phone number. We wanted to just have the dash. We could do that by putting all 3 of these formulas into our one large formula. So first we'll do equals, and we're going to have to combine them with the concatenate, with the and sign. So first we're going to do left D2, comma 3, so we have 3 characters. So that was the first part of our number. Then we do and now we want the mid function, because we're going to get the mid part of this. So here's the text, comma, remember we want to start on the 5th character, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we want 3 characters to pull. And then we do the and again. Now we're going to do the last part of this, which is the right 4 characters. So we click and, actually we have to do the formula here first. Put right. Now we're going to click D2, because we're going to pull the 4 rightmost characters from this. We'll close the parentheses out and click OK, and there it is. So this is another way we can get the phone number without dashes. And we do one more I just want to show you, and that's the substitute function. I'm going to just pull that up in here to show you through the wizard. So what's the text? Here's the text. So we want to pull this number. What's the old text? Which would have been the dash, because we want to get rid of the dash. The new text, we don't want, we'll just leave quote, quote, because we got to put something in there, so we don't want to replace it with anything. And then we click OK, and there it is again. So those are just 3 ways where we can get the phone number without the dashes. I mean, there's just many ways you can do it, but those are just a couple. Now we move on to the fifth question. These 5th through 8 questions are down here on the bottom. And let's say we look at the first one here. How many people are over 50 years old? So we got this list of all the people here and their ages. So to do this, we want to use the Countifs function. So I'm going to insert. We got Countifs right here. Because what the Countifs will do, it's just going to count how many ages are greater than 50 years old, which is what we want to do. So the range is this, and the criteria is over 50, because they want to know over 50 years old. We click OK, and it's showing 6. I can get rid of that, because that was just an error there. But so we got 6 people, and if we look at the formula here, we've got Countifs. Here's the range, and you even if it's a numerical thing, you have to put it into quotes. So it's going to show you, is it over 50? Now here's a little more advanced one. How many males are over 45? So we got 2 criteria here. So when you have 2 criteria, remember that's the Countifs function. So we're going to pull that up. Here it is, Countifs function. Click OK. So what's the first criteria? Okay, first we want to see, are they male? So we're going to highlight that. Are they male? It's the second criteria, the age. And this is over 45 years old. So we'll put greater than 45. And then all we need is we need those 2 criteria, so we'll click OK. And the result is 3. So if we look, we're going to go through all the males here. Here's male, that's 60, that's 1. Male 53, male 49, so that's 3 right there. All the other males, if you look, are under 45 years old. So that's our answer, is 3. Next one is what's the 3rd oldest age? So the 3rd oldest age, to do that, we're going to need the large function. So we're going to insert a function, large, and what's the array? We're going to highlight all the numbers, and now large is going to return. You get to pick which number you want to pull. If you pull the 2, that means it's going to be the 2nd largest number. We want 3 because we want the 3rd largest number, which is showing up as 56. So if we look, all these numbers here, the largest one is 60, next one is 56, or no, sorry, the next one is 59, and then the 3rd one is 56. So it's just the 3rd oldest age is 56. And here's the most advanced question here, the last one. Who has the 3rd oldest age? So we know it's 56, so we know it's LaTanya Adelson, but this is because we manually are looking at this. How would we do this without manually pulling it? To do that, I mean, you could use a Vlookup function because you could pull it on here, but Vlookup only goes to the right. We want to pull from the left side. So to do that, we need to do the index match function. So first we're going to do the match part of it. So we want to match, we want to see where in this row does this number 56 come from. So we're going to do match, and click OK, and the lookup value. This is where we're going to put our large function here. So because we want to put the function into large, and we want this range, comma 3. So that's going to give us our 3rd. So it's going to look up, see how it shows 56? It's going to look up the number 56. And what's the array? In this array, starting out on row 2, and match type is 0 because we just want the exact match. So we click OK, and it's 16. So this is the 16th row, basically, in this array. Now, we want to use the index function to pull the 16th person in this row. So we're going to do index. Now we have to put the range, which is right here, comma, and then we already have this part already done, so we're going to leave this so that it's 16. Now we're going to just end parentheses, click OK, and it pull LaTanya Adelson. So basically it's looking up in this range, A2 to A16, comma, or A2 to A17, comma, 16. So it's going to start here and go down 16 people and pull the 16th person, which is LaTanya Adelson. So that's how you would find the person with the third oldest age, and that should do it for the first sheet. Okay, we are moving on to number 2 on Module 5. There's only 4 questions in this one. What we have here, we got a list of different people with their date of birth and their employee ID. And there's a couple things highlighted in yellow. Those are basically what we have to fill in. So if we go through the questions, the first one is in column C, calculate the age in years. So we've got the people's birth dates. So to do that, we can do a function today. Today will just give you what today is. So let's just start off by doing that. And it starts off by, Excel does it as a number. So it can do calculations on it. So if we do today minus the date of birth, we get 19,137. It does it in days, so that's how many days old this person is. So to actually calculate the years, which is what we want to know, we need to put this in parentheses, and then we can divide by 365 days in a year, which it roughly is, and I mean not counting leap year, but so now we've got 52. So that's how old this person is. We copy it all the way down, and we've got the ages now for all these people. And which it makes sense because this person was born 3 years later, and now they're only 49 years old, and so on. So now let's find out the month they were born in. I mean, as you can tell, I mean we've got their birth date right here, so we know like they're born in 8th month, 9th month. But just putting in 8 is not as descriptive if we want to put the actual name of the month, like we'd want August or we'd want September here. So we can do that. I mean, there's a couple different ways to do that. So we can start off by just doing the month formula. If we do month, it'll tell us what month this date is, and it's month 8, which is August. But we don't have it saying August, so if we wanted to say August, we could do it in a couple different ways. One way is through a Vlookup. I mean, but for a Vlookup, you need to have a little side table of all the months and the month name, like we do right here. So like I created this, we got all 12 months, and we got all what the 12 months names are. So, I mean, you might not want to have this on your spreadsheet, but if you do, if you don't mind that, we can just do a Vlookup on this. So we'll do insert the function Vlookup. And what are we pulling up? The month, so which in this case would be an 8. We want to pull it from this table. We want the second column, which would be the month name, and we want false because we want an exact match. Click OK, and then it says August. Now we just want to make sure we put the $ signs to anchor this. Otherwise, when we copy it down, this reference would change, but we always want to be looking at in this table. I mean, we could name this table, which would be another way to make it a little easier. And then we could just put the named reference in here. But I'm not going to do that now. I'm just going to copy it down. And there we've got all the names of when it was. See, here's April, the 4th month, and it shows April. Another way to do this, let's get rid of this. Say you don't want to have this little table here, and all we want to do is put one formula to do this. We can use the choose function, because the choose function will let you pick which one of your choices that you're going to use, but you have to put all the choices right into the formula. So we'll start off with month 8. So basically, this is going to take our 8th choice of all the choices that we put. So all the since we're pulling up month name, we want to put all 12 month names in there. So we're going to do choose. So the first part is month, so that's the 8. So now we have to just type in all the months. which I mean, it's a little time consuming for the first time that you do it. But after you get it done once, then you can just copy and paste the formula down, and then you'll be all set. And we're actually almost already done on September now, so if I can spell. Okay, November. All right, so click OK. So now it's August. See, we got all the months here, and all it's going to do is it's whatever month it is. Like it's an 8, so it's going to choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it picks August. We can copy this all the way down, and it's going to pull the months. See right here is 11. It pulls November. So that's the other way to pull the month name in. Okay, question number 3. In column J, actually it's column H, we want employee ID. If it's not an employee, we want it to read not employee. So we look at the employee ID. We get the people's names right here, and we want to pull employee ID. So we can do a Vlookup to pull this in. Let's actually show you the name the range. We can name this range. So we've got the range here. You can type it in and just call it employees. So now this whole range is called employees, so we don't have to put in the whole formula when we're looking this up. So now we can do a Vlookup to pull in the employee ID. So what we're going to do, we're going to insert the Vlookup function. And what are we looking up? This person's name. What are we looking it in? Employees. And which column do we want to pull? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, the leftmost column has to be where the name is. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So employee name or employee ID is 4, and then it's false. Click OK, and it's showing value, probably because I put parentheses or there. You're not supposed to put the quotation marks. I forgot about that. So you don't put quotation marks, but now we see it says employees, and if we had highlighted this, it's employees. So this is basically our range. So now if we copy this down, if we look, we got 3 employees. Oh, but we got one that says NA. And what do they want here? It says if it's not employee, you want it to read not employee. So what we can do, let's use the if error function. The if error will tell us if there's an error, then we get to pick what we want the error message to say. So in this case, we want it to say not employee. So we've already got our Vlookup formula. So we're going to do if error, parentheses, and then the value, which is this, comma, and then what's the value if error? We want it to say not employee. Close the parentheses. Now in the first one, it didn't do anything because there was no error, so it's using the actual Vlookup. But if we copy it all the way down, on the third one, or the fourth one, Tom Jones, he's not in this table, so we wanted to say not employee. And the last part is just in the date of birth column, we want the date, we want to put the date of birth, obviously. So we're going to pull by name, but we can't do a Vlookup for this table because Vlookup only goes from left over to right, and we've got from right to left in here. So I mean, one long way around it is you can insert a column or put the date of birth over here, but I mean, you don't really want to adjust your data. You just want to create a formula which will pull in what you need. So we're gonna use index match function to pull this. So first I always like to pull the match part. So let's do match. And the lookup value is this name. The lookup array would be right here. So we're gonna pull all of these, and it's 0. We always put 0, do the exact match, and it's 5. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is, Ralph Murphy. But we want to pull the date of birth. So now the index will let us pick any column we want, and it'll pull the 5th match. So we're going to do index, parentheses, what row or what column do you want to pull from? You got to make sure the range is the exact same. See, this range goes from row 2 to 26. In our other match formula, it goes from 2 to 26 also. So here's the range. This match we already found is a 5. So we're gonna press enter, and it shows date of birth. It's showing as a number, but we can format this. Format the cells, and then when you format the cells, you can format it as a date or however that you want it to look like. So we're gonna just change it to date. Click OK, and there. But let's just explain this again. What index is going to do, it's going to take, all it's going to do is just take this range, A2 to A26, and it's going to say which one of this from row 2 to 26 do we want to pull. And since match already says we want the 5th person, so it's going to take the 5th one in here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 1, 23, 76. And if we copy this down, we get the dates. And then again, this person is not here, Tom Jones. There's no instructions on what we want to put. The last time we put non-employee. So we'll do that again. We'll do if error, parentheses, we got the whole formula there. And now the value if error, what do you want it to do? We don't have instructions to say non-employee, so we could say non-employee, or we could just put it blank. I'm just going to leave it as blank. Click OK. There. So now this one came up as a blank. But if we copied it to the other ones, it'll show still the date because there's no error, and it's just doing the index match and pulling in the date. So that should do it for these 4 questions, and that's it for number 2. All right, moving on to number 3 in module 5. So here we've got some golfers and their golf scores over 3 different games, and we got 5 questions here to answer. So let's start off with the first one. In column E, what is the golfer's 3-game average to 1 decimal place? So we can do that by using the average function. We're gonna put our 3 scores in there. So we get average B2 to D2. Click OK, and it comes out to 91. But what we want is to 1 decimal place. So to do that, we can use the fixed function. The fixed function will basically tell you how many decimal places you want to see. So we put fixed. We already got our average, so fixed, then here's the number, comma, how many decimal places? We said to 1 decimal place, so we put 1 there, and it's the 91.0. If we copy this all the way down, and we've got all the averages to 1 decimal place. The next question, in column E, or column F, we want to see the golfer's name all in caps. So we can use the upper function. That's just a text manipulation function. We'll use upper. And what text do we want to make capital letters, which is just the golfer's name. Click OK. We've got Sheena. So it's simple, just type it in. We can just equals upper, parentheses, A2, and that's all it is. So if we copy this down, there, now we've got all their names in capital letters. And then now we got a couple questions down here. Who had the lowest score in game 1? So we can put our answer right here. The lowest score in game 1, we would want to find it from here. So to do that, we can use the min function, because the min is just going to show the lowest value in a range of values. So I'll just insert the function min. Click OK. And just what range do we want to check for? We want game 1. So it's just B2 to B17, and it's 77. But the question was, who had the lowest score in game 1? So now we found out the lowest score is 77. We want to find the golfer's name. So to do this, we're going to do the index match function. this is a very important function that it takes a little while to understand, but once you get it, it's really powerful. So we want 77 to find that. So we've got our number, so we're just going to do the index part. So all index will do is, what do we want to pull? So we could pull either golfer's name in caps or the golfer's name here. It didn't really specify in the question, so I'm just going to put golfer's name, comma, and then min shows 77. We want to find that, so we have to do the match part of this. So we got match, parentheses, and now we're going to look up for the lookup value, which is 77, because min b2 to b17 equals 77, comma, and the lookup array is this. So it's going to look it up in here, and then it's comma 0. You want to make sure you put that, because then it's just put the exact match. So now the match part is going to say, where is 77? And it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's in the 9th row in this range from B2 to B17. So then the index part is going to pull the 9th row from this range, A2 to A17. And it comes out as Jane, which we can check as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Jane, if we look over, had a 77, which is the lowest score. So it's kind of a complicated function if you look at it at a glance, but when you break it down to match of 77, it finds it here, and then the index part will look in this range and pull whatever the match comes out to, which was 9. Okay, next is who had the third lowest score in game 2. So this is going to be the same idea. However, we want to have the third lowest score, so we can't use the min function because the min will give you the lowest. But we can use the small function. So let's do small. And what's small works similar to the min, but it's game 2, so we're going to highlight this. And here you put the K. The K is which position do you want. Like, here's we have the third lowest score, so we want a 3. Click OK, and it comes out to 81. So if you look here, this person had an 81, so that's going to be the third lowest score. But we have to find out who did. So first we're going to put let's do the long way and do the match part first. So we got match, and the lookup value is whatever the small comes out to, which was an 81. In what range? Where it's going to look for the 81 in here, and it's going to find the first match. Even though there's 2 81s, it's just going to find the first one. And then comma 0. So now it's 11. So if you look down, 81 here, this comes out as the 11th row in this range. And now all index will do is you get to pick any other range, which we want the golfer name, comma, and then it's going to comma 11, because we just want, this is what we found in the last one, and it's Rigoberto, who had the third lowest score in game 2. Okay, on to the last question, number 5. How many golfers scored under 90 in both games 1 and game 2? So we'll put the answer here. So we want to find out how many of these had under 90 in both games, not just in one. So to do that, since it's multiple criteria and we want to count them, we want to use the Countifs function. So let's pull it up, Countifs. And what's the range? The first range is in game 1, and we want under 90. And then the second range, we want to do the exact same rows, just a different column as game 2. We put under 90. Then we click OK, and it's 5. So if we kind of scroll up here, here's one person with both scores under 90, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's our answer for the last part. How many golfers scored under 90 in both games 1 and 2? And it's 5. So that should do it for the the number 3 questions, and that should be it. Thanks. All right, moving on to number 4 in Module 5, and here we've got a bunch of salesmen and their sales for January, February, and March, and then we got a couple columns here that we want to total up that we want to complete. In total, there's 5 of them. So we'll just start with the first one. The first one's the easiest one. What are the total sales? So for that, we can just do an equal sum. I mean, this is one of the simplest functions. Sum all those 3. Press enter. If you add this up, it's 9,000. So that's the easiest one. Just simple way to add them all up. Next one is the sales over $1,000 in all 3 months. So since we want to find out if it's greater than 1,000 in this column B and column C and column D, we want to use the AND function, because the AND will give us a yes or no pretty much if it meets all 3 criteria. So equals AND, we'll use the AND function. What's logical 1, which is just, is this greater than 1,000? Next one, what's logical 2? Is this greater than 1,000? And logical 3 is March sales greater than 1,000. And it comes up as true. And if you look, all 3 of these are greater than 1,000. If we copy this down, most of them are true, but there's a bunch of falses in here, because you can see here's one that's under 1,000. All 3 of these have to be true for this AND statement to come up as true. So this comes up as false. So that's the second question. The third question is a little more tricky, and it's a bonus question. And pretty much for the bonus, we want to look at the total sales. If the total sales are over $7,500, then you get a $2,000 bonus. So if it's over $7,500, $2,000 bonus. If it's over $6,000 but less than $7,500, then it's a $1,000 bonus. And if it's under $6,000, then there's no bonus. So the way I'm going to show you to do this is through an if statement. First, we'll do a simple part. First, simple if statement. If this is greater than $7,500, then we want it to show with the bonus, which is $2,000. And you have to put a false part, but for now I'm just going to put 0. So all we have is, if this is greater than $7,500, they get a $2,000 bonus. However, this doesn't take into account, if we copy this down, see here, the 7,000. This is greater than 6,000. This is between the $6,000 and $7,500 threshold, which would give us a $1,000 bonus. However, we need to add it into our if statement. So we're going to create a nested if statement, which will calculate this. So we already are checking if it's over 7,500. If it's over 7,500, Excel will put 2,000 and it's done. It's not going to look at it anymore. If it's not over 7,500, if it's less than 7,500, we have to go to the next if statement. So I'm going to back this out, get rid of the 0, and here's our next if statement. If now, since there's 2 criteria, if we want between 6,000 and 7,500, we need to put 2. It has to match both those criteria, greater than 6,000 and less than $7,500. So we're going to do an AND function, and we want to check E2. So first, is E2 greater than 6,000, comma, also is E2 less than $7,500. So now we've got both parts of the AND statement in there. So if it is, we want it to say 1,000. And then the last part, if it's not greater than $7,500, and if it's not between $6,000 and $7,500, it has to be less than $6,000. And if it's less than $6,000, it's a 0 bonus. So we're just going to put a 0 there. Press enter. It showed that error because I didn't have the right number of parentheses. See, now if you look, there's 2 parentheses there. And that's all it was. It's just they have to match equal number of left parentheses to right parentheses. And now if we copy this all the way down, we've got the correct bonus in everywhere. See, here's 2,000 because these are all over 7,500. This is between 6 and 7,500, so it's 1,000. And all these are below 6,000, so it's showing up a 0. So now we've got the correct bonus in there. And we did this through a nested if statement, which if you break it down like I showed you, if you just do one step at a time, it's pretty easy. But I mean, just looking at it at a glance can be difficult, so you just have to start one piece at a time and kind of break it down. Okay, now we're going to move on to the top 5 in total sales. We want to basically check all these sales and say, are they in the top 5 in this range? So to do that, we want to find what is the 6th largest amount of sales, and then say, is it greater than it? So to do that, we'll use the large function. So we got large, and what's the array? These numbers here, comma 6. So it's 7,150. We want to see if this is larger than 7,150, then it would come out to true. So we're going to just we'll do an if statement. If, parentheses, this number, or we want to check this number sales here. So if E2 is greater than this large function, which is 7,150, if it's greater than that means it's in the top 5 in sales. So we want to put yes. And if it's not, then we'll just put no. And the parentheses, so it's yes. So now if we copy this down, and it's giving us an error here because, see what I did here? I never anchored this range. So when we look at here, this one works here. E2 is greater than large. See, large is checking from E2 to E21. Here, now it's checking from E3 to E22. So this is good to error check. You always have to make sure when you're copying stuff down, anytime you do a range like this, you put $signs in front of it. And see, now we'll have the $signs. Now if we copy this down, now it's showing all from here. See, if we look down way down here, it's showing E2 to E21 instead of changing the range. And I mean, you can even do this by pressing F4. F4 is a quick shortcut to get around it. I kept pressing F4 and it would keep changing them, putting $signs in rows, columns, or in both. So now if we look at this, there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeses. So that means these 5 are the ones that are in top 5 in total sales. And if you look, 72, 77, 71, 73, all of these are over 7150, which is the 6th highest total sales. So that's how you get the top 5 in total sales. And the last one is total sales over 3,000. We just want to sum this up for all the people who have total sales over 3,000. So we're going to just do a sum if function. Let's type that one in there. And what's the range? The range is this. There's your total sales. The criteria is it over 3,000. What do we want to sum? If it's over 3,000, it's just the same range. We want to sum the total sales. Click OK, and it's 13,395, which is only 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. There's only 4 of them that are over 3,000. So when you add them all up, it comes out to the 13,395. We can copy this over. Here it's 27,000, here's 14,000. And if you notice on this one, see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them that are over 3,000. So that's why this number is larger, because it's summing up a lot more numbers than this one. So that will conclude our number 4, and it'll answer all the questions on it. Thanks. Okay, moving on to number 5 in Module 5. And here we've got a list of different user IDs, and we got a couple different steps that we want to do. So the first one here is in column B, find the length of the user ID, which is in column A. And that's just a simple function, len. Len for the length function. We put the text of what we want to find the length for, and it's 17 characters. Copy this down. That's how many characters are in the cell. Now we want a new user ID. Say we're on a site where you can only have 15 characters. So we want to find the left 15 most characters of the user ID. So we're just going to use the left function. Here, comma, we want 15 characters, no matter how long it is. And if we copy this down, see if you noticed, this was Robbie Cristobal 75, which is 17 characters. This one is only 15 characters, so it takes away the right. Okay, it only shows the left characters. And if it was, like, see, this was only 11, so this one should equal this one. And that's actually our third question, is in column D, check if the old user ID equals the new user ID. So there's, a couple ways you can do this. First, we use the exact function. And it's just one text string, and here's the second text string, A2 and C2, false. That's just basically saying, do they equal? You can copy it down, and like this one is true, because these two equal. So the exact just basically will find the exact, are these two cells exactly the same. Another way you can do is through an if statement. I'll just show you this. This just gives you more flexibility on what you want as a result. If all you care about is if it just says true or false, then exact is fine and it's easier to use. But let's say if you wanted to say something else, we can use the if function. So if A2 equals C2, now if this comes up as true, what do you want it to say? First we put the true result. C value if true, then we could put whatever, it's a match. And now it's the false. If they don't equal, then you could put no match or whatever you want. End parentheses, click OK, and it says no match. Copy it down. So now we got no match, and here it says it's a match because this does equal to this. So those are just two ways you can do the same exact thing, just the if function gives you a little more flexibility. And the last one is in column E, replace all the A's in the new user ID with the and sign. So what we're going to do, to replace something in there, we can use the substitute function. So I'm going to pull that one up. Actually, I've got it right here in most recently used. Click OK. We're going to pull in this, and the old text is an A, and we want to replace it with the and sign, or the ampersand, or whatever this sign exactly is. Click OK. So now if we copy this down, there we go. We've got all the places where there was an A. See, there was an A here, it's replaced with the ampersand, and it goes all the way down everywhere there was an A, so you won't see any more A's in here, because that's just substitute the A with this symbol. And that is it for number 5. Thanks.